Hi everybody, it's Lynnea, and I'm here to make a cute little Trinity cup or teacup card. So I'm going to just wait a couple seconds because I know there's a bit of a lag from when I start my video to when people can start popping in and showing up. But while we kind of get going, I'm going to show you the card I'm going to make. Here's what we're going to do today. It's going to be a quick and easy card, but check out how adorably cute this is. I'm going to use a couple of Trinity Stamps products. So the card itself is a shaped card, which is super fun, and this does fit in I think you would have to use a 5x7 envelope, or you could cut to like a square envelope, but it's so cute how the way it opens up. I love shaped cards. I think they're a really fun way to bring something extra special to your cards. So here's the products we're going to be using today. I'm going to be using the Trinity Stamps Trinity Cup card die set, and then this little floral arrangement down at the bottom here, I'm using the Buttercup Blossoms, and this is a huge 4x11 stamp set, and I absolutely love this. I think it's a super pretty stamp set. This is really the basis of the card we're going to be doing today. So like I said, a simple card that you're going to be able to create quite quickly. So hello to everybody who's coming in. Let's go ahead and jump right in and get started. I'm going to set this to the side. Let's start by creating the card base. I like to create my card bases from heavyweight cardstock. Oh no, my camera just kind of went funny. Let's see if I can get that to focus again. Hopefully. I feel like whenever you go live, something is bound to happen. Okay, so I'm going to start with the Trinity Stamps Trini-Tea Cup card die set, and you're going to have this large die that's going to cut your shaped card base. So I just trimmed down a piece of heavyweight white cardstock, and I'm going to tape this in place. There are large die cutting machines on the market, but I just have a regular size die cutting machine. So I'm going to add a couple pieces of tape because I'm actually going to have to run this through my cutting machine and then kind of flip it and run it through again so that I can cut both sides. So in order to do that, I'm going to make sure that I have tape on both sides of my little teacup die set here. So it's not going to go anywhere as I shift. I'm going to grab my die cutting machine here, and I'm going to start by just putting this onto the platform, and you're going to see some of it is hanging off the left side, which is totally okay. Like I said, we're just going to shift it down. So I'll run this through, and so that's going to cut about 3/4 of the die, I would say. All I'm going to do is take off this top cutting plate, and because I have the tape holding everything in place, nothing is going to shift. I'm just going to slide this right down and die cut the second half of my card base. So that's just a little hack. I do that all the time when I'm cutting slimline dies. If I have any kind of die that's larger than my, I think this is like, what, 9 inches, a regular standard cutting platform, just use some extra tape and then shift things right down. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go ahead and peel off all those little pieces of tape. I'm using low-tack tape so that nothing tears. And then I'm just going to pop out my card here. And I see I have a little bit of ink transfer because I did this when I practiced. And I'll show you why I have some ink transfer, but we're going to just rub that right away and it'll be just fine. All I'm going to do is just fold right in half here. And I'm going to grab my bone folder and just reinforce that score line. And that's it. That's how easy it is to make that shaped Trinity Cup card die. Or card base, I suppose I should say. Let's grab these right out of the way. I have a little bit of ink transfer. I don't know if you can even see it on the camera, but because I've been practicing and did some die cutting here, I have a little bit of ink on there. I'm just going to grab a sand eraser because I don't want that ink on there. So I'm just going to quickly erase that away. And that little mistake will be known to no one except for you guys. Alrighty, let's continue on cutting the rest of the pieces. I like to do all of my die cutting at once. So I've gone ahead and I grabbed just some scrap pieces of cardstock. This is a great die set to use up some of your scraps because there's all these little pieces in here. So you can cut the little tea bag, there's a heart, like you can cut the top inside piece of the teacup and like this little bottom accent piece here. So I have just some pieces of scrap cardstock here that I'm going to use to add some accents onto my card. And then there's even like these little, this could be like little lemon, lime, orange wedge, something, anything really that you want it to be. I'm going to grab out the pieces that I need for my card. And I'm going to go ahead and just die cut these. So this piece here is going to cut out the this little accent piece that's going to kind of mimic the inside of the teacup, as well as the coffee or tea, whatever you want in there. And I am going to just die cut these out. I do want to say also that I have the video pulled up so that if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to ask. And I know Jenny from Trinity Stamps is here. She's going to be posting links to the items that I'm using so you can do some quick and easy shopping that way. I'm going to go ahead and just die cut out some of these pieces. So I'm cutting the heart, that accent piece, and then I need that inner piece there from the teal cardstock. I'll run those through my die cutting machine. Nice and easy. Oh goodness. I'm gonna put these right back in my pocket before I lose them because I am most certainly accident prone and could very easily lose some of these pieces. Set those to the side. So you can see here how this one die piece cuts that little accent piece, as well as this would be for the coffee. So I'm going to keep this top piece for the accent and then die cut this once again from some dark brown cardstock. And then I also want to cut the little tea bag from some craft cardstock. So I'll grab my scissors and just trim off a piece there. And go ahead and die cut these. So really this card is already coming together super quickly. I'm going to add a little bit of extra something special using those Buttercup Blossom stamps. But if you needed just like a super quick card, you can just do all the die cutting and use those because like I said, there's all those extra little accent pieces which would make a card come together very quickly. Tuck those dies away and tuck my die cutting machine away for just a minute as well. So already we have the teacup ready to go and my pieces. I'll set those to the side. I'm going to grab now my Buttercup Blossom stamp set and I'm going to use this large piece here. So this piece is perfect for a slimline card, but I'm going to use it today as kind of the accent on the bottom of my cup. So I'm going to stamp it, but I'm not going to be coloring the whole thing. So I'm going to grab my Misty because I always need a stamping platform to do my stamping, otherwise it won't be even. And I'm going to take that large image. Like I said, this is a really big stamp set. It's 4 by 11, so it's perfect for all kinds of cards. I'm going to set this up here. And then I'll pick that up. And I don't need, like I said, I don't need that whole piece. So I'm going to put my magnet here. And I'm going to double stamp this. When I'm coloring, I like to stamp once and color. and then stamp again to make my black ink super dark. So I'm just going to tape this in place because I will actually be leaving this right in my Misty as I do some coloring on here, and I don't want it to shift. I'm going to grab some ink that is Copic friendly and ink this up. Again, I don't need the whole thing because this is just going to go across the bottom of my teacup. And if you wanted to, you could even stamp this directly onto your teacup. But I find that it was easier for me, because I sometimes make mistakes with coloring, to stamp and die cut and then place it onto my card. I'll stamp that once more just because I didn't get super dark, and I do want you to be able to see it on camera. That's good. Okay, so now, like I said, I'm going to leave my stamp right in my platform, and I'm going to grab some markers. For those of you who don't know me, I color very simply and very easily. So I'm just going to be using 3 marker colors for each part of my image here, but I don't really do a whole bunch of shading. I'm going to see if my camera will zoom in a little bit and still stay in focus, and I think we're going to be able to do that. Okay, so for my flowers, I'm going to be using Y17, Y15, and Y13, and I'm going to color the bigger flowers with my yellow. So I'm just going in very easily, and I color dark to light. There are so many different ways to color. You can color however you feel most comfortable. You'll always hear me say that, to color however you feel comfortable coloring. I'm going to color this one here yellow. I'm going to kind of keep the colors balanced between yellow and like a tealish color, just because I wanted to bring in some kind of soft colors. And then I think I'll go, this one will be yellow, and I will stamp these again, so anywhere where you see that the lines aren't quite crisp, I'm going to go over that and color again. But I'm just kind of eyeballing the width of my teacup card so that I know how much I need to color. I think that's probably good. And then I'm coming in with the Y15 and just blending out that Y17 a little bit. Again, very easily, very simple coloring. I'm kind of dotting. I find that yellow Copic markers tend to make ink bleed a little bit. I think just because it has so much, I'm not sure, alcohol blender, I'm not sure what the right word is, but they make inks bleed just a little bit. So when I color with yellows, I tend to kind of dot my marker rather than swipe. Here we go with Y13. This will be the lightest of my yellows. And so I'm just going in and coloring any areas that are left uncolored by the first 2 markers. I like to color dark to light, first of all because it's quick and easy, and second of all I like the dimension or the depth that it gives, because you can easily see how I have dark areas going into the light areas there. Okay, now I'm going to switch over to my teal colors. So my teal color combination, I have BG13, BG34, and BG11. I'm going to, maybe I'll set that marker there. And this is going to kind of tie in with the teal that's on the cup itself. So again, I'm going to color dark to light. Just adding my darkest where I think there should be shadows. And the Buttercup Blossom stamp set kind of does the hard work for me, because you can see how there's these little dashed lines down at the bottom. So I know that that should be in shadow. So I'll add my marker, my darkest marker color there, and then kind of bring it up where any of the petals are overlapping. I'm just checking to make sure I got them all. I think I did. I have this bad habit of kind of skipping one flower, and then I always have to come back and color it in. BG34 is my mid-tone, so I'm going to color that in. And then I'll finish off with BG11. Just bringing that lightest color in towards the top. And anywhere where I kind of go outside of the lines, I went outside right here, I'll grab my white marker and cover that up. All right, this is just a white gel pen, and I'm just gonna go right around where I colored outside the line and fix that error. All right, so now moving on to my green color combination, I have YG09, YG06, and YG03, and we're just gonna color in these leaves super, super quickly. Again, just adding a touch of shadow with my darkest color, and then we'll go to the medium and then to the light. This image is so easy to color. I think it would be really pretty to use watercolor markers or even like colored pencils. I'm not very good at coloring with colored pencils. That's something that I need to practice. I've been saying that for years. I need to practice with colored pencils, and I just never find the time to try a new medium, but maybe that should be my summertime resolution, to try something new. All right, I think that's probably good. Again, I'm keeping in mind the width of my teacup card, so I know it's not gonna go all the way to the sides, so I don't need to color the whole entire image. YG06 is my middle tone, so I'm just gonna come in and add just a little bit of, kind of blend out that YG09, but again, very quickly. The leaves are small, which makes them easy to color. And then once I'm done here, I will grab my lightest color, my YG03, and color over any areas that I may have missed with those first two green markers, just to blend out all of the color. And fill in everything, blend it all together. And then that's going to be it for the coloring. It really did go by super quickly, I think. Easy to color, which is great. I love that there's those little kind of shadow lines on the flowers and the leaves, so you know it takes the guesswork right out of the coloring for you. Just a few more leaves left. I know sometimes it's not fun to watch coloring, but this was simple and quick enough that I thought I would leave it in so that I could show you how quickly and easily it would be to pull together a complete card from start to finish. That's it. Coloring is done. So I'll get those markers out of the way. And now you can see how I didn't really get a clean and crisp image over here. So I'm gonna go in this time and really ink this up and press down. I like to stamp lightly at first because it decreases the bleeding, and then again stamping over the top is going to really crispen up that black. See how much better that got? But I realized I forgot to color in the middle of this flower. So really quickly, let's just add that color in there. Like I said, I always tend to forget some kind of coloring. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and just pull that out of my stamping platform. I'm going to clean my stamp really quickly, just grabbing whatever cleaner I had right next to me, just because I don't like to leave the ink sit on there for too long. And then we will put that away. Oopsies. Now we're going to do some more quick die cutting and then just assemble the teacup card. I'm going to leave the stamp set out because I will need that for a sentiment. But I'm going to grab the coordinating Buttercup Blossoms die set. I'm going to die cut this image very quickly. I'll use the same tape that I actually used to tape this into my stamping platform and die cut this out. It's really easy to align, even without stamping the whole entire image. I do apologize if my head gets in the camera for a second. I just want to make sure that this is lined up straight and even. I think that's pretty good. And then I'll just tape that in place, and I'll run that right through my die cutting machine and cut out that image. And then I'll show you a trick that you can use, but you definitely don't have to. Because I want this image to be the same shape as my teacup card. So I could easily add this on to my card and then trim around the excess. But what I'm going to do is grab that outer teacup die again, and I'm going to lay this right over the top so that I can have this cut exactly to the correct shape and size that I want it to be on the front of my teacup. So I'm going to grab just a piece of tape here, and I will line this up because I want it to be a little accent at the bottom of my card. So this is going to be the front side of my card. This die here, the one that kind of has the, I guess I should zoom back out, huh? There we go. Now you can probably see a little bit better. So the portion of the card that has the little accent pieces, that's the front of the card. So that's the piece that I'm going to line up here. And I want to kind of make this flower center. So I think I'll go, I think that looks right about right. And then I'll tape this in place. And then I'll run this through my die cutting machine, and I'll have this flower curved right to how the teacup is curved. I'm just going to adjust that real quick. Okay. If you could see my workstation during live videos, everything just kind of gets passed over to the left side of my desk, just outside of camera range, so that you can't see the mess. I'm usually a very neat and tidy crafter, but when I craft live, everything just gets thrown in a pile. But luckily, you can't see that. All right, so here we go. Now I have this die cut flower piece that is going to be cut exactly to the shape of the teacup card. And I am just going to cut off this little snip right here because that is where the handle is, and I don't want that to show. I don't want that to show up on the handle. So I'm just going to cut that off. And I might cut off this little piece up here too because I think that looks just a tad weird. There we go. But now you can see this is cut right to the exact curvature of the teacup card. All right, so let's start putting things together. I'm going to put this off to the side here, get my garbage out of the way. I had a minor panic moment because, like I said, I have the video up on my phone so that I can interact with all you guys if you ask questions, and it went away on my phone, and so I thought for a second that my video had stopped, but I think we look okay. Alrighty, here we go. Let's start putting things together. I know that I want this little heart right to be popped up in the center of my little tea bag, so I'm going to grab my foam squares here and add that right to the center. I think I need to cut just a little piece off to make that fit. And then I'll add that right in the center with that little bit of foam adhesive so it's popped up. I'm going to use liquid adhesive to adhere these pieces, so the little coffee piece. And the good thing about this die, I don't know if you can see, but there's like little notches in here so that you can line things up. I don't know if my camera's gonna catch it, but you can, it's really easy to line up how these are gonna go. So I just wanna make sure that this is going the right way, and I think that it is. Blue at the top because that's going to be like the inside of the little teacup, and then I'll have the coffee going underneath it. So I'll tuck that right in on those, I guess you could say they're kind of like little score lines. You don't fold on them, they're guidelines, I suppose that would be the better way to say, is guidelines. Some more liquid adhesive just right here. We'll pop that right up there. Pop that right in place. And then the little bottom part of the teacup. This little accent blue piece at the bottom. I love little white teacups that have just pops of accent color, so that's kind of what I was going for here. I'll add that right there. And then I'm going to use just a bit of foam tape behind my little flower piece here. I'll cut some pieces so that nothing collapses on my card as it goes through the mail. And just add them. Let's see, let's go one there, and perhaps one more little one. Set that big old foam tape to the side, and then I'm going to, let's see, I just want to make sure, yes. So this is why I used that Trinity cup card die, because you can see here now how the edges perfectly match the curvature of the teacup. So like I said, if you don't want to do that extra step of die cutting with the card die, you could just use your scissors to trim around, but I like doing that extra step. I think it makes everything have a more polished and finished look. All that's left to do now is really just to add a sentiment. This card came together so quickly, and you could customize the colors of the flowers, the colors of the teacup, to be anything that you wanted. I want to add a little sentiment on here, so I'm going to go back to that Buttercup Blossom stamp set. And I did Thinking of You on my sample card, but there are, you could do Kind Thoughts or Flowers from the Heart. You could cut that right in half and have that kind of stacked on here. Thank you, hello, any of those would be so super cute. I'm gonna go with Thinking of You. I still have a lot of friends that I haven't seen recently because of all the events happening, so I've been sending a lot of Thinking of You cards just to remind my friends that they've been on my mind. I'll pop this in here. I'm just going to kind of line this up as straight as I can. Put that Thinking of You right in the center of the teacup. Get it as centered as I can. Don't mind me while I count squares. There's got to be an easier way, but I don't have one, so I just count squares. I'm going to pick that up and I'll stamp that with I'm going to go with a brown ink to match the tea that's in my cup. And then it kind of goes along with the little tea bag too. So stamping that with some brown ink. And then this is what happens when I go live. I can't find my stamp cleaner now. So that might have to just stay dirty for a hot second. We'll leave that there. All that's left to do now is just to add my cute little tea bag. So I'm going to just add a little bit of liquid adhesive and just tiny little dots right along the line of this tea bag. And then I'm going to tuck this right onto the cup here, kind of tucking it behind the flowers. Tuck that little tea bag so it looks like it's hanging off the side of my teacup. And then wipe off any excess glue because I wasn't thinking. I put it all over the back and I only needed it on the side. That's okay, that wipes right off. But there we go. that's it. It was so easy to make, and I'm not even sure what time it is, 2:30. So start to finish, all I did was pick out my cardstock colors ahead of time. I did all the coloring, everything right here with you guys. It's a really quick and easy, cute little card. And I love how this Trinity cup die set creates this cute little shaped teacup card. Thank you everybody for joining me. I know that Jenny was dropping links as I was using the products, so if you wanted to shop any of the Trinity Stamps products I used today, those are right there in the comments section. I'm going to be back here for another live video in 2 weeks, so July 15th, 2 weeks. I will be back at the same time, 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. I'll be back here making another cute little card. Thank you guys, for everybody, for being here, for watching, and I will see you again in 2 weeks. So bye.